Hi dear friends, good morning to all. Myself Bhavsar Sonone, Assistant Professor, Department of Chemistry, Gokhale Education Society's Arts, Commerce and Science College, Jawar, District Palagar. Dear friends, in the previous part of the video lecture, we have discussed about applications of radioisotopes whenever used as tracer, and whenever these radioisotopes can be used as tracers, then we can use these radioisotopes for the different purposes. In the previous lecture, we have discussed about the use of radioisotopes for the determination of or for the prediction of correct mechanism of some chemical reactions. And for that purpose, we have discussed about the different chemical reactions like photosynthesis. Again, after the study of photosynthesis, we have also discussed the use of radioisotopes in the ester hydrolysis, and after the ester hydrolysis, we have discussed the another chemical reaction called as Friedel-Crafts reaction. In all these reactions, these radioisotopes can be used to predict the correct mechanism or the pathway of chemical reaction. So whenever there are more possibilities for the pathway of any chemical reaction, then the correct mechanism, correct pathway of any chemical reaction can be predicted with the use of radioisotopes of various radio element. And here, dear friends, in this part of the video lecture, we are going to discuss the another application of radioisotopes, which is called as age determination. So whenever we are going to talk about the age determination of any sample which are contain the carbon, and here for the age determination of any specimen, we are going to use one of the radioisotope of carbon called as the carbon 14, and that's why this process is called as the carbon dating or dating by carbon 14 process. What happens in this process? In this method, the radiocarbon carbon 14, which is the radioisotope of the carbon, is particularly used to determine the age of some or any archaeological or biological specimen. Particularly, this is very important. Actually, this method is used to determine the age of specimen containing the carbon particularly. And in this method, what happens? The radioisotope C14 or carbon 14 is used for the determination of age of specimen, biological specimens particularly containing the carbon. In this method, what happens? This carbon 14 radioisotopes is formed by the interaction of neutron with nitrogen in the atmosphere. So this is a reaction which indicates the formation of C14 in the atmosphere. Let me adjust this first. So this radioisotopes C14 is formed in the atmosphere with the help of this neutron and the nitrogen 14, and this is present in the atmosphere. So here this nitrogen 14, whenever interact with the neutron, there is a formation of this C14. There is a formation of this C14 and which is present in the atmosphere. What happens? This C14, it is the radioisotopes. As it is the radioisotope, it means that it shows disintegration in the atmosphere, and once this C14 shows disintegration, it undergoes radio activity, and this disintegration is responsible for the emission of negative beta particle called as the beta emitter, and that in the process of disintegration, the half-life period of this C14 is 5720 years. So this is very important, that it means that Once the integration of carbon 14 gets started, it will reduce its activity to half of its initial value in the period of 5720 year. It means that for the reduction of activity of C14 to half of its initial value, it requires how many years? It requires 5720 years. So whatever amount of C14 initially present in the specimen, it will become half of its initial value in the year of 5720 years. So this is the half-life period. And during the half-life period, during this disintegration, just I told you, it emits the particle which is called as the negative beta emitter. So this is the one of the important. So this is very simple, that the whatever C14 which is present in the atmosphere, this is used for the determination of age of biological samples. This C14 is formed in the atmosphere by the interaction with neutron, and once this C14 is formed, it will show disintegration, and during disintegration it emits the negative beta particles called as beta emitter, and it shows the half-life period of 5720 years. Definitely there is some condition for this C14 to start disintegration, to start disintegration, and this condition is that it will undergo disintegration if and only if that biological specimen get dead. So this is very important. So this C14 which is present in the atmosphere, it get converted into carbon dioxide. This is radioisotopes. It get converted into carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Once it get converted into carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, definitely this carbon dioxide will be utilized by the plants for the process of photosynthesis to form a carbohydrate. This is very important. Already we have discussed this process in the application of radioisotopes, because this is the process by which the plants are able to synthesize a carbohydrate by using carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and H2 in presence of chlorophyll pigment and the sunlight. So this carbon 14 which is present in atmosphere in the form of radioisotopes, it will be used by the plants in the form of carbon dioxide, and this carbon dioxide will be converted into carbohydrate through the process of photosynthesis by means of plants. So once this C14, now this C14 will become the part of what? It will become the part of carbohydrate. And you know very well, this carbohydrate will be utilized by the animals in the form of plant. But what happens actually here, as long as these plants and animals are alive, means these are not dead, as long as these plants and animals are alive, the proportion of C14 and C12, so their ratio, their proportion in their bodies remain constant. So their ratio will not change unless and until these animals and the plants are alive. So as long as these animals and plants are alive, so C14 and C12, their amounts, their ratio, their proportion remains constant. Why this is so? Because as long as the plants and animals are alive, this C14 will not start disintegration. It will not show radioactivity. It means that as long as the plants and animals are alive, this C14 will remain in its form. But once these plants and animals are dead, it will show radioactivity. It means that the C14 in their bodies will start its disintegration, and definitely its activity will get reduced. So then the radioactivity of this C14 in the dead bodies will decreases with the time. It means that the activity, means the amount of C14 in their bodies after death, will goes on decreasing, which means that its activity goes on decreasing. Obviously the proportion of C14 and C12 will also decrease. So in that case, what happens, the time which is which is passed or which is elapsed since the date. So after the date, the whatever time is passed during that time or in that time, the definitely the activity of C14 will also decrease. And after that time, what happens? So the activity of C14 in the dead body and that of fresh C14 in the atmosphere. So this is the two activity. So this is the activity of C14 in the dead body which is goes on decreasing, and another one is the activity of C14 in the atmosphere will remain as it is, because it is the fresh C14 which is present in the atmosphere, and this is the C14 which is present in the body of dead organism or dead animals of the plants, which has started disintegration. But this C14 which is present in the atmosphere, it will not start disintegration as it is the part of atmosphere, but this C14 is the part of dead body, that's why it will show disintegration. And these two activities, one is the activity of C14 in the dead body and another one is the activity of C14 in the atmosphere, can be calculated, and their ratio can be calculated. And once these activities, so we have the two activities, one is the activity of C14 in the dead body, means in the body of the specimen, in the body of the sample, and in the sample, and another one is the activity of C14 in the that is activity of the fresh C14 in the atmosphere, which remains constant. So this value all definitely remains constant, and we have these two activities. And once these two activities are calculated, then we will be able to calculate what? We will be able to calculate the age of any sample. So this is a very simple method to determine how much time has passed after the death of particular plant or particular animal or the particular organism. And for that purpose, the whatever formula is used, this is time 2.303 upon lambda, which is decay constant, log to the base 10 of n0 upon nt. Again we have this equation, that is this lambda. Actually we have, if you know the relationship between decay constant, lambda is equal to between the half-life period and the decay constant, that relation is nothing but simply lambda is equal to 0.693 divided by half-life period. And if you put this value in this equation, you will get this t is equal to 2.303 upon 0.693 into half-life period of C14 into log to the base 10 of n0 upon nt. Here n0 is the radioactivity of fresh C14 of atmosphere. So this value definitely remains constant, and this nt, this n sub t is the radioactivity of C14 from the sample, from the specimen, from the dead body. And definitely this value or the activity of this C14 is going to decrease with the time, because it shows disintegration in the dead body of the organism or dead body of the particular animals or the plants. This t, which is the time that to be calculated, it is the age of the sample that to be calculated. So t is the age, and t suffix 1 by 2, it is the half-life of C14. Already I told you it is a constant value, because this is the time, this is the period in which the activity of C14 in the body of dead organism get reduced to half of its initial value, or to half of the atmospheric C14 value, and that much time is 5730 years, which is the half-life period of C14. So here once you know the value of n0 and nt and the half-life period, because this value is constant, and only we are requiring what? We are requiring that is these two values. One is the activity of fresh C14 in the atmosphere, means the value of n0, and another one is the activity of C14 in the body of dead organism or dead plant or the animals. So if we know these two values, then definitely we will be able to calculate the age of any sample or any organism after its death. So based upon the same, we can discuss our numerical here. So this numerical is simply the C14 activity of some sample of wood reportedly from Egyptian pyramid. This is very ancient, this ancient part is 3.3 dpm per gram. If in living plants the equilibrium value of C14 activity is 15.3 dpm per gram, then we have to calculate the age of sample of food. For that purpose we have provided here the half-life period. So in order to discuss the solution, first of all what things are given, or first of all I will ask you what things to be calculated. Definitely we are interested to calculate the age of sample, and definitely for that purpose we should know what things are given to you. So 5730 or 5720, it is the half-life period, which is the constant value provided here. Again you have provided the 15.3 and 3.3. Actually this 3.3, if we'll discuss here, this 3.3, it is the activity of C14. It is activity of C14, but this is the activity of C14 in the sample of wood, in the specimen. So this is the value of what? This is the value of En0. Sorry, this is the value of Ent. And another one is the activity of C14 in the, this is the activity of C14 in the living plants, means in the atmosphere. So this is the value of En0. So we are having the three values. 3.3 it is the value of Ent, and 15.3 it is the value of En0. So we got the values of En0 and Ent. Also we got the value of half-life period. So definitely we will be able to calculate the value of age of the sample. And for that purpose, if we have the formula is that time means the age of sample t 2.303 upon lambda log to the base 10 of En0 upon Ent, and this lambda is replaced by means of, and this 0.693 divided by t1 by 2, so it becomes the equation like this. And if in this equation already we know the value of En0 and Ent from the numerical, Ent is 3.3 and En0 is the 15.3, and we know this for half-life period of C14 5720 years. And if we will put all these values, and after the simplification by taking the ratio of these two, and after taking the ratio we will take the log of that ratio, that log will become 0.66632. and after making the simplification, definitely we got the age, means the time of that, that is the age of that sample of wood reportedly from the Egyptian pyramid is simply 12,663.7 years. So this is the simple the sample of wood is nothing but this much years will years old. So this is the age of sample. So this is the time after the date of that particular sample of the wood. So simply it's very simple numerical based upon the applications of one of the application of radioisotopes, that is age determination by using the C14 radioisotopes called as the carbon dating or age by C14 dating process. So it's very simple based upon the same. If you remember about the GM counter, in the GM counter, because with the help of GM counter we will be able to calculate the decay constant again here. So here the one particular numerical is given to you all, that is the GM counter when switched on it shows 12 counts per minute reading for a sample of radio element. The initial display was 3162 unit counts per minute, and exactly after some time, means 1 hour, the display was 3067. So there are three readings particularly. One is the at the start of GM counter without sample. So I hope you will be able to. So this is the without sample. So this is the reading. This is the counts per minute without sample. So this is the background count. So this is because of some factors rather than the radio sample. And initial count. So this 3162. This is the initial count. It means this is the initial activity, but it is also including the background count. So we have to minus this. We have to subtract. So actual initial count is the difference of what? Experiment count minus background count. Experiment count is the 3162 and background count is what? That is simply 12. So 3162 minus 12, it becomes 3150 count per minute. So this is very simple. Similarly, actual count after some time, after 1 hour, again it will be difference of experiment count 3067 this, and background count minus, that is 12. So difference of these two will be 305 simply 3055. So I hope we'll be able to identify the value of en0 and ent. So this is the initial, it means this is the value of what? This is the value of en0, this is the value of en0, and this is the value of what? This is the value of simply activity after some time. So ent, so we got the value of en0 and ent already. We know the this is the actual count after 1 hour. So time is given to you 1 hour, and we have to calculate the value of decay constant. So again, if we use the same formula here for the determination of decay constant, lambda is equal to 2.303 upon t log to the base 10 of en0 upon nt. You know the n0, n0 is how much? N0 is actual initial count 3150, and nt is actual count after 1 hour 3055. So here, if we will put this value of n0 and nt after 1 hour, means the time will be 1 hour, and by making the simplification, definitely we will get the decay constant 0.0306 per hour. So here, so decay constant of this radio element will be 0.0306 per hour. So I think you got clear idea about the applications of radioisotopes whenever these are used as the tracers for different purposes, either for the study of reaction mechanism, correct reaction mechanism of some chemical reactions, or whenever these are used for the study of, or for the estimation, or for the determination of age of sample of some plants or animal after death, then these radioisotopes can be used for the determination of age of the dead sample also. So it's very simple to discuss this application. At the same time, I think you also got the idea about the numerical, because we have also discussed about the numericals based upon the same. So dear friends, in the next part of the video we will discuss about the next part of the nuclear chemistry based upon the nuclear transmutation, which is also called as the artificial radioactivity. Because till we discussed about the natural radioactivity, now we will discuss about the artificial radioactivity, so artificial disintegration of radioisotopes. So thank you very much.